All right, let's get started. Welcome to this session and thanks for joining today. This is a webinar about how you can be AI ready to actually look beyond the hype into what you could do with AI, what value you could get. I'm Srikanth Aluru. I'm a certified technical architect from CapTS. I take care of the solution design and architecture here and also help our customers to get that value out of the ServiceNow platform. And I have my colleague with me here today, Donovan.
Thanks, Srikanth. So Donovan Munitic, Practice Director with CapTS. My previous history was with ServiceNow as a senior advisor within customer and industry workflows.
Brilliant. Thank you. And here is a quick safe harbor notice for any forward-looking statements that we'll be discussing in today's session. Let's address the elephant in the room, or AI. So this is everywhere now. So technology have been through many transformation. First is the digital transformation. Everyone told it's coming, and later they've adopted that. And then the cloud. Everyone was speaking about cloud, and now everyone have adopted cloud as well. Now it's AI. Everyone is still speaking about it, but at some point of time, every organization should be adopting that. So the discussion is always about what's your AI strategy as an organization, what you're doing about AI. Not only just the peer pressure or the hype in the market, but even the stakeholders are looking at AI. I'll give a personal example. Bradley Turner, who is your CEO, came down to our office and was asking us, let's do something about AI. And this is a discussion we had about 8 months ago or 9 months ago, when there is too much of hype around AI. ServiceNow is doing AI, everyone is doing AI. Copilot came out, and he asked, let's do something about AI. Being techie, you feel like you know it all, and you try to defend. We don't have valid use cases, or there is issues with security. It still takes some time to adopt, so we didn't go ahead with that. But the situation presented itself a couple of weeks ago. We have identified we are spending a lot of time on manually working on the proposals that we put together for customers. We have already worked on a lot of proposals, so why not we put some intelligence or automation around that? We don't want to be paying about hundreds of pounds a day for individual to work on the proposal. Rather, they should be working on where they can put the brain. So we came to a conclusion that I believe that applies to everyone. It's not you choose AI, then try to find what we can do with AI, but rather it's the problems that you identified should be driving towards the AI, to start with the problem statement and how AI can help you to solve that problem. That's where your AI strategy should be around. And it's a question that you should ask yourself, what as an organization we are doing about AI? And here are few research metrics. McKinsey says that about 20% of the time is spent on searching for information to fulfill a particular task. And Harvard says that about 9% of time is lost in reorienting after you visit an application and coming back. And this we'll be able to relate very well. Gartner says that 43% of the employees miss the information because of having too many applications open. Right now, I have about 25 to 30 tabs open on my Chrome. That's a challenge. And we can understand the pain being on a service desk or in the service management world. Lot of this causes manual effort and manual time, which you cannot really bill for customer, and it's hard to justify as well. So how we can make the life of agents or your employees better? I'll not say let's change the world completely with AI. Let's completely transform your organization. But for today, let's stick to how ServiceNow is doing in the AI space. What we have identified, and based on the experiences that customers are sharing, the early adopters or the leaders who have adopted this AI on ServiceNow platform, they have seen more value in going with an end-to-end workflow. So rather than picking AI and sprinkling it over all the different departments, one use case by use case, they have identified one workflow, and they have identified all the touch points, what all individuals are involved within that workflow end to end. and they have tried to address their concerns using this AI. And it's not AI. The beauty of platform is you have one architecture, one data model, and it can scale to different departments, and it covers all the other departments, as you can see from your employee experience to your customer experience. Every touch point in between, ServiceNow can help you there. Now, enough of the sales play, but now let's see how actually you can implement an intelligent workflow. When we mean intelligent workflow or intelligent automation, what does it contain? The three key things for an intelligent workflow starts with your data, how you connect your data, how you are unifying the data across your enterprise. So you have your data. The next one is applying intelligence on top of the data, understanding whatever the data you have. That's AI. And then the automation. So you have the intelligence, you have the data intelligence, you've understood about your data, and you're getting some output of it. Now, how do you drive that automation? Make it more actionable. So that's the automation component. Now let's understand what is ServiceNow doing in these individual pillars. So if you want to get started, the first part is the data. So everyone, when you say AI, the first reason that comes, we should have a quality data. Our data is not accurate. It takes some time for us to get there. Let's understand what ServiceNow is doing, because having context, your business context aware data is very important. Let's start with ServiceNow itself. Most of the customers who joined today are already using ServiceNow. So you are already having data there. If you take user context as an example, here on the screen you can see a small video clip recording of Lucas. So you have all the reference data related to Lucas, whatever the incident he raised, whatever the request he raised, and all the data is there. So what this knowledge graph, this is the latest release from ServiceNow. What it does is it aggregates the user data and creates the structured format. So whatever the query that he or she is putting is more personalized. So as you can see, who is your manager? When you type that query, the system knows to get the Lucas manager because all the data is within the platform. And if you type incident, you get all the details related to only Lucas. So this is about knowledge graph. So now we have addressed first problem of data within ServiceNow. But if you see on the organization scale, the world will not revolve only around ServiceNow, but there will be a lot of different platforms for a lot of different functions which they are good at. And speaking about data, you'll have some terabytes or petabytes of data stored within your organization in your data lakes like Databricks or Snowflakes. ServiceNow itself is not a data repository or a data lake, but we know we need data. The first thing is integrating, but we don't want to integrate all the data maintain so many copies. So ServiceNow, this is one of my favorite recent releases, Workflow Data Fabric. What it does is, without bringing the actual physical data from one system to other system, this is like a zero copy integration. So you have live access to the attributes within the other system, using them in the data model of ServiceNow to run some intelligence and automation on top of it. So you don't need to move data across multiple systems. So it will remain exactly where it is, but a zero copy integration will be there and ServiceNow is aware of that data. So that's brilliant. You are accessing all the organization data that you have. That's Workflow Data Fabric. Now we have understood what ServiceNow internally data, how ServiceNow connects to data outside the platform. Now the question is, okay, do ServiceNow have a database that is scalable, or can handle that amount of data, or is it fast enough to handle all the queries and the processing? Previously, ServiceNow were using MariaDB, and then they have moved to Postgres. A recent acquisition, they have acquired a Berlin-based company called Swarm64. They're kind of accelerators on top of Postgres. So with this acquisition, they have partnered with Swarm64 and they have released their own database called as RaptorDB. So this RaptorDB can scale along with the platform, whatever the latest features are bringing out. And also it's very fast in processing your queries, and also it can run the parallel process your reports, basically to support whatever the innovation that they're bringing. They have bought in this Raptor DB, and it's identified that it's giving 3 times the transactional throughput. So it will help you to drive, proper decisions, and also drive proper user experience, be in security and compliance. All the business outcomes that you see here will be met. That's on the data part. Now let's go into AI. ServiceNow was doing AI way before it was cool. Generally there is a misconception between AI and generative AI. I'll take an example. Elon Musk once tweeted saying that raising a child is like training an AI model, and it makes sense, right? If you consider, let's assume you want to teach about a dog to your child. When you show a picture of a dog or show actual dog and say, kid, that is dog. So you are training it based on the data. So that is machine learning. Your kid is learning, okay, that is dog. And here is the data. It looks like this. It has a tail. It has 4 legs. That is machine learning. And then AI is if your kid identifies a dog, your kid is able to think as a human and identify dog based on the data that he or she have learned from you. So they identify what's dog, that is AI. And now coming to generative AI is where your kid writes an essay on what's a dog. So they have learned about the dog, they have seen the dog, you have trained them, they have learned about the dog, they know what dog is. Now they are writing an essay on dog to their school. So that's how ML, AI, and generative AI looks like. So ServiceNow have been doing it since 2017. Initially, they started with basic chatbots, the decision format like decision blocks, chatbots, and then they have bought natural language understanding. Then they have scaled to actual intelligence, the predictive intelligence, the machine learning models. They've bought RPA, and now it's a phase of Gen AI. Whatever the AI that's in the market, current running, it's all about Gen AI. But what we wanted to discuss today is there is a lot more to AI. It's not just the Gen AI, generative AI. There is a lot more to AI and the intelligence that you can apply. And you might have heard these names before, either from your ServiceNow account executive or from your implementation partner, or you have seen within your subscription. Starting in the virtual agent, this is one of the intelligent features of ServiceNow. Initially, it started as a basic decision builder where you enter some input, and based on that, if yes, this, if no, this. Then ServiceNow introduced natural language understanding. You train that particular topic saying that, okay, if I enter this information, my intent is to do this. So you are entering the different inputs and training it, okay, this is my intent. And later on, now with this Now Assist or the generative AI capabilities, system can understand what you're trying to enter and will bring the relevant topic of conversation. That's virtual agent, the chatbot functionality. The next one is advanced work assignment. You can say this is not like high level intelligence, but at least it has some conditions defined based on the skills of the agent, availability of the agent, and different types that are available. It can route the ticket or your live chat to a particular group or particular agent. So that's the advanced work assignment feature. Now moving on to the interesting parts. So you have your data within ServiceNow already. We are speaking about the data within ServiceNow. So you can run this machine learning algorithms, starting with the classification algorithm. So it will automatically, whenever a new ticket comes in, you have already trained this particular classification algorithm with all your data. So it can identify, okay, this might fall under this assignment group or the category. So if you have a requirement of, I want to automatically assign it or automatically categorize it, so you can go with classification. Next one is similarity. So if you want to identify the similar incidents that were opened before, if you open the agent workspace within the agent assist, you can see similar incidents or similar problems or knowledge article. So it can identify the similarity patterns based on the trained data. Next one is clustering. So this will try to identify the patterns. Best example, let's say you have your service catalog, requests are automated, though people raise incident asking for something. What would be good is after 6 months or 1 year, if you do a clustering analysis on your incident data or case data, you can identify what are the common types of requests. Then you can see we are spending a lot of time on this common type of request. Why not we automate that? Why not we put a catalog item or request fulfillment in place for that? So this clustering helps you to find them. And regression. So this is more of a prediction. So the best example I could give you is how much time it would take to fulfill, or the SLA. SLAs are ideally defined, but time taken to resolve that particular incident or resolve that similar type of case that occurred before, or even fulfill a request. So regression can help you there to predict something. This is on the machine learning. And now the intelligence part. So ServiceNow has concept called document intelligence. If you are into customer service or dealing with a lot of documents or POs where you don't want your agent to manually go through all the documents. So if document intelligence is set up and trained properly based on if this is the format, pick these details. So it can automatically extract the data from the document. So you can save a lot of time and effort of your agents there. And the next interesting one is the AI search. When we mean AI search, you have data within ServiceNow, and we get a request from a lot of customers about SharePoint. So they have data in SharePoint or any other sources, external content within your organization. When a user search for it, automatically ServiceNow, based on the data that is within and also data that is external and the natural language understanding that it has and all the machine learning algorithms that we defined before, it will give the right search results. It's not like just showing based on meta tags, you hard code the tags like you do in search engine optimization. It's more intelligent to recommend, are you searching for this? It will make a recommendation. So that's the AI search which you can adopt. Still, we are in the intelligence part only. We haven't gone to Gen AI yet. So all these features ServiceNow is already having from many years that you could adopt. The next one is task intelligence. So on your case or on your instant, any kind of task, ServiceNow can identify the sentiment of that particular task based on different attributes that you define, and also based on the attachments that are attached and also the context of the particular case or instant. It can identify the language, and based on the language, it can pull the right team to that. So all this task intelligence is already part of the platform. Now, generative AI. When we speak about generative AI, the first thing that we should be discussing about is the LLM, large language model. It's very important to have well-trained large language model or that use case or that industry specific large language model. Let's take this example. We all use ChatGPT or Microsoft Copilot. Imagine just asking that this is my short description of the incident. How do you solve it? It will give you very generic content. You can get relevant content at some point, but you have to go through many loops, making many queries to that. It is fine if you are a user, but in the back end, on the management perspective, you are making many API calls just to fine tune that prompt. What if that is already trained? The LLM is already trained specific to that industry. As soon as you enter the particular short description, it will give you the relevant information. That is what ServiceNow is doing with their Now LLM. What they have done is you can search for Hugging Faces, which is a open source. It contains all the AI models. And from Hugging Faces, they have taken an AI model and they have taken their own data, the ServiceNow data, specific to the domains. When I say domains, it's IT service management, customer, because the attributes in the context might differ. They've taken their own data. They have purchased data from few of the large customers. Of course, they have anonymized all the PII data, cleansed the data, and trained that model on the NVIDIA infrastructure. So that's why you see NVIDIA CEO coming to all the knowledge event, because they have partnered with NVIDIA and all the infrastructure they are using. It's not their native infrastructure. They're taking from NVIDIA and training on that. And if you are going for generative AI capabilities of ServiceNow, whatever the instance you are on will be hosted on the NVIDIA's infrastructure. So they trained their model and they trained it specific to the each industry, domain specific ones. So that's ServiceNow LLM. Good part is if you have this, rather than spending some time and money on your own training your own LLMs, you can use that from day one. Of course, they are giving, because it doesn't work for everyone. Even if we assure, okay, this is secure, PI data is anonymized, here or there still there might be some loopholes or some security constraints, and it's not as personalized as our own trained LLMs. So ServiceNow acknowledges that. And the good part is you can use the same existing, whatever the building blocks are there. Instead of now LLM, you can simply bring your own LLM. Be it the large language model hosted within your Azure, use Azure OpenAI services or Llama or any model, you bring your own model and integrate. So here are all the leading cloud providers that ServiceNow supports. They're just plug and play integration. All you need to do is authenticate and pick up the right model. So this is what ServiceNow is doing in the Gen AI space. How do you put that into action? As we are discussing about AI, you might already be using a lot of existing workflow. So that's the beauty. You don't need to build everything from scratch again. Whatever the workflows you already have, this generative AI component, this querying to the LLM can be directly plugged into them. If you take Flow Designer as an example, simply as an action that is available. So generative AI controller, you can call that with any of your flows. Let's say a request is submitted. You might be aware, okay, step 1, step 2, step 3, approval. So before that, you can add one more action saying, take this description and query to the LLM, see what it returns. So you can tailor the flow based on that. Not only your workflows, but also within your scripts and everywhere within the platform, an API is available. So you can use that generative AI controller. And good part is you can change that LLM anytime and all this configuration will not affect. The next thing is Now Assist Skill Kit. This is where it gets interesting. What is skill? So you might ask, what is skill? What is this Now Assist? So Now Assist is the generative AI capabilities of ServiceNow. And a skill is that particular use case. As we all know, generative AI is helpful only if there is a valid reason to use that or a valid use case. For example, on the screen, we have a recording to suggest a plan of action. So to do that, you are passing some inputs that are tailored, and also you can tailor the prompt to give me this information, directly come to the point, refer this particular documentation site, and then you can even add the automation in between. If you want to fetch some data from external sources to do that, you can put that Flow Designer component or automation component and then tailor the output. And simply by clicking on a button, you can publish it as a UI action. As you can see there, suggest plan of action. It's a custom use case or skill that you build and you're using on your table already on your particular task type. So that is the beauty of Now Assist Skill Kit, building your own use cases or skills. Now moving on, how actually it works. So as you can see, you have all your inputs that are gathered from different sources, and then with the generic prompt, and also you have the option to create your own prompts. It will be passed through GenAI controller. That's where your LLM comes in, large language model. From day one, straight away out of the box for every individual domain, like IT service management, customer service, field service, every single thing ServiceNow has released the relevant model. So you can connect that LLM and then it gives you the output. Now, speaking of putting it into action, so this is where you can select the provider as well. Now, let's speak of what this Now Assist can do. This is a Gen AI feature from ServiceNow. If you ask me, I would say three major functions or capabilities, as I would like to call it, is you can apply it for different skills. Three major takeaways, if you ask me. The first thing is summarization. You have all your data, be it any kind of data, it can read through that and summarize in this short size so you can understand it quickly. Next one is generation. So it can generate some content for you based on the context that it has. Summarization, generation, and the third thing is analysis. So it can analyze all the data you have from multiple sources and come up with some recommendations. Or let's say you're having a live chat, it can understand the context of it, can analyze based on the previous things and come up with the next recommended action or next recommended step. So these three are the core capabilities. And the use cases are art of possible. You can create as many use cases as you want, but not just leaving out in the air. We are going to showcase you what use cases ServiceNow has released as well. Now it's not only specific to a particular kind of user. As we discussed, you need to cover every single touch point. Your agent is as important as your customer. We say customer is important, but your agent, whoever is dealing with the request, every individual touch point is important, from your admin to developer or your stakeholders. So ServiceNow has something to offer for each of these personas, starting with your end user, how it can help in the self-service, starting with your agents, how it can improve their productivity, and admins to have that governance or control on top of it. Now let's take ITSM as a basic example or use case. Based on the audience we have in today's session, we are going to do few more follow-up sessions or deep dive demos specific to individual modules of ServiceNow. But for today's session, let's take IT service management as an example. Let's see the whole end-to-end process or workflow as we discussed, starting with the employee persona. So whenever they log into the self-service portal, they can ask the chatbot with whatever the query they have, or they can just directly search for it. So the first point of contact, Now Assist comes in, the generative AI capability. It will respond to that particular question based on the context it has. And the next thing is passing it on to the service desk team. Let's say you entered all the information there. Now it's time to agent to handle that request. Level 1 service desk, ideally they triage the incident. The best way, what I would say, is directly, rather than level 1 triaging it, it goes to the right teams. Let's assume level 1 is picking that. So as a live agent support, they comes on board and they're chatting with the employee. So they know this is the context, and then they have decided, okay, this is the context, this is the knowledge article, this is beyond my ability. This should be dealt with the level 2 agent. So a lot of time what happens in the service task is the transition from level 1 to level 2. Even for me, if I get some work from my colleagues, it takes me some time to analyze what this work is, unless and until they put a Teams message to me saying that, hey, this is the context, here we are, you can crack on. So how good that would be. So ServiceNow, this Now Assist can help you to put the work notes or the task notes in. So the next agent or the team whoever is picking has some context of it, what you have done so far. And then moving on to resolution of the incident, it can help with the recommendation of what you could do, and also even generate the resolution notes or the notes that is more focused towards the employee. So at every point of contact, this Now Assist can help you. Now let's see a demo. So this is a quick recorded demo. So starting with our end user persona. So once they search for something, you can see it is being generated by Now Assist. Previously, it used to be AI search. Now Assist, if you have it, you can use that. And also within the virtual agent also, Now Assist can come into play. So when you ask a question, automatically it generates a response to you and comes up with recommendation. So this end user is submitting a request. So once that is submitted, now it goes to the Teams, or this is the Teams virtual agent that you can deploy. So it's the same interface, the same chatbot interface that you have even there. This is the agent persona that you're seeing on screen now. Agent picks up the live chat. As soon as they pick up the live chat, they're not thrown into the deep end, but the context was given to the agent to know what's the emotion of that particular end user and what they're requesting. So at every point, even after the incident is created, you can see what's the issue and what the recommended actions are. So playbooks are automatically triggered. And now this is the analysis of the, let's say if you're having IT operation management, you're getting a lot of alerts. Alert is not always self-explanatory unless and until you're into the infrastructure team. So you can see it quickly analyze what the alert is and put the summary of that particular alert. So the next teams can pick up the notes and deal with that particular incident. Last but not least, creating a knowledge article. So your knowledge base is up to date. It can even create the knowledge articles for you based on the context. So this is a very high level demo of how Now Assist can help for end users and agents in IT service management. The most requested or most asked feature is Copilot integration. A lot of organizations are on Copilot. ServiceNow integrates well with Copilot, and it's just like a plugin or add-on. If you see here, there are plugins. So we are playing around with it. We'll showcase the live demo in the upcoming session. But now the use case that you are seeing as an end user, if you request something to Copilot, it's just a prompt you need to enter Now Assist. It will immediately trigger the Now Assist chatbot, which you have seen before. So it can pick up the context of the conversation and you can drive the whole conversation or request rise tickets from there. So the user is putting a request for a new laptop from the Copilot. So Copilot integration is already built into the platform. It's basic plug and play. And the next one is for admins and developers. So if you're having platform team, not advanced use case like creating apps, you could do that. But I'm afraid right now, if you give ability to your users to create apps, that would result in chaos unless and until there's the right governance. But the basic use cases like creating catalog items or generating reports, dashboards, all of them you can give access to your admins or platform teams or stakeholders. So they don't need to ask you multiple times for something. So that's on the Now Assist for admins and developers. Moving on is what's the right product for you. So ServiceNow offers this Now Assist as Pro Plus, or they offer something as Plus component. You're on Pro or Enterprise, it doesn't matter. You can take this Now Assist feature and you can choose the right product. So it has products for ITSM, HR, CSM, basically every modular industry workflow. And then skills are the use cases. So as we discussed before, you can see summarizing a particular ticket, summarizing the chart, generating the resolution notes, generation, analysis, and summarization. So it has pre-built skills for each of these domains or industries, and then they link to the platform capabilities. So it's pre-built into the platform, whether you're using workflows or workspaces or portals, everything you can refer to these skills or take help of the skills. And of course, you can integrate with whatever the LLM or the chatbot of your choice. So Copilot integration is pre-built. Now the question would be around the trust of AI. That's a big point of discussion when you're discussing about AI. One is the data, and the second one is the security or the trust around AI. And ServiceNow is compliant with all the AI principles or whatever the industry standards are. It takes human-centric approach. So if you are using the generative AI, you get the option to make the decision whether you want to automatically populate it or not. And once you do, you clearly can see this field was populated by generative AI. Of course, for customers, you can have it in control, but in the auditing logs, you can see this was generated by AI and you can make the decision. That's human-centric approach, and it's inclusive of all the diversity. So they are continuously trying the models to be inclusive, and it's very transparent. You can go to Hugging Faces now, and you can see the ServiceNow LLM model. Even the Stanford University, they said it's very transparent. What ServiceNow is doing is great, and they have said it's transparent. We can see what all they are doing, what methods are there within this LLM. So you can see that within Hugging Spaces. So all the documentation is out there. It's open source. And accountability. Of course, ServiceNow takes the accountability, and also you can drive your internal governance process around this AI. The next important question is about security. Yes, whatever the intelligent features, I not say just the generative AI, but any intelligent features within the platform have security wraparound around it. Because you have the logged in users, unless and until they're authenticated, they can't do anything. So once you have the logged in users, all the security constraint that you have put previously, like your access controls, data filtration, domains, customer segregation based on customer. So all of that will work. Now, how do ServiceNow handle the sensitive data? Of course, if you're making a call to a large language model, it's some data that is going out and coming back. So what ServiceNow is doing in that space? So they do handle this sensitive data with the regex pattern. So you can define a regex pattern, saying if this is within the pattern, then do not transfer the data or mask the data. So that's there. From your side, you can do that. Of course, ServiceNow has multiple checks before the data is sent over to their LLM. But from your side or from the customer point of view, you can set up all the sensitive data handlers. Now, what happens if you sign up for ServiceNow Generative AI? Great, you get the value add, everything. But day one, you sign the order form, you purchase this Pro Plus capability or Now Assist capability. You get the option to opt in to share the data with ServiceNow, or you can completely opt out saying that we don't want to share any data to train your LLM. It's not to use the LLM, but to train the LLM to make it better. Because if you use the summarization and if you feel the summarization is helpful, if ServiceNow knows that RAG model, so based on the feedback, it automatically says, okay, this is good. We are going to use to give a point to our LLM. So if you want to opt out of that, you could do that. If you don't opt out, automatically the data will be collected. And of course, ServiceNow does the personal identification details cleansing. And then they send it to a secured location to train their LLM. So this is how the data sharing is within the platform, but anytime you can turn it off. Here are all the attributes that ServiceNow anonymizes, and you can set up your own if you have any other patterns. One other thing on AI is you might have seen ServiceNow stock has risen above $1,000, and the recently Bill McDermott announced Q3 earnings, and they've made a big announcement on AI. So everyone went mad about it. The major release then was this AI agents. Sam Altman in recent interviews, what he have told, the progression of AI, what he sees from OpenAI perspective. Initially, they came up with a chatbot, basic chatbot, the conversational AI. They have come up later with the reasoners or the researchers capability. If you see the latest model, the O versions, all of them are researchers. They can think as a researcher. And the next phase is agents. So now AI knows all the details. Now being able to take some actions based on the data that it gets out of it, based on the intelligence or the workflows, is that AI agents. And after the AI agents, they're releasing innovators where that AI, the chatbot can automatically innovate saying you could have done this to improve your business. And the last phase is organization. So their plan was to replace or make automated functioning organization. So the chat bot or that LLM model would take care of the complete operations of an organization. Let's leave all of them for later, but for now, ServiceNow is aligned with that part, but they're aligned to AI agents. You can see they're aligned with that roadmap. They've released AI agents. What AI agents does is it can act as a virtual agent, or some fabricated or AI agent, or on your behalf. It can recommend the action. Of course, it will not take the action unless and until there is an approval. It can recommend the action and even perform few of the actions saying that, okay, I've made all these checks, so you should be doing this. Do you give me your approval? So it can act on your behalf. So you can imagine how much time that the agent saves. So AI agents are released by ServiceNow. That's one great innovation. Now, so all of this is cool, but actually are people seeing value out of it? We like to discuss the customer use cases, starting with British Telecom. We all might be aware of this British Telecom already. It's a largest telco provider in the UK, and they are using customer service management. What they have done is first they have set their platform foundation right, the process right for customer service management, and they've implemented Now Assist. The major outcomes of implementing Now Assist, they have majorly used summarization feature and generation feature. How these two features of Now Assist help them? The first outcome is reduction in mean time to resolve. So first thing is self-deflection. Automatically, whenever the customer is raising an issue, automatically ServiceNow Now Assist will give them the recommendation or will summarize saying that we already have this content. So does this help? The first point of deflection. Next thing is whenever it comes to an agent, at the first glance, they can see the summary of that incident or case. So that helps them to quickly resolve that particular issue, incident or case. So that results in 33% reduction in mean time to solve. and read through the case, as we discussed before, read through the case notes when it transferred from one agent to other agents. Going through all these work notes or activity sections will take a lot of time. So once you have the transfer notes automated based on all the work you did so far, it resulted in 55% reduction in time for BT. And you can see the summarization actions for a customer. This is a self-service, the portal. It reduces 55% of the time. And all these facts, sir, the BT CIO was speaking at the Knowledge 24 event, saying they're seeing the real value out of it. And the next one is Kainos. So what Kainos does is they're a Belfast-based organization, and they are into Workday managed services. So they are a managed service provider, and most of their customer base is small to medium businesses. So when you are dealing with small to medium businesses, one key element is how cheap can you offer your services and how fast you can offer your services. Of course, there is no compromise on quality, and they compare the market. If you want to have the leading edge, you need to maintain both of this: cost effective solution and faster solution. And even they don't want to be charged for every single thing that they ask, right? Sometimes you can't charge customer for everything. So what Kainos did is have taken Now Assist. They have focused on creating the self-help articles. So with Now Assist generation, knowledge article generation, they have created about 600 articles, 600 knowledge articles. And with this, it contributes to the self-help. So ServiceNow Now Assist can understand all these articles and you can recommend to the customer. So it resulted in customer satisfaction rating. 99% customers are happy with what they're doing. And also it's easy to onboard the junior agents. So the onboarding cost, you don't need a seasoned professional unless and until it's tier 3. You can easily onboard a junior agent because all the knowledge is already there. So that's how Kainos has realized the value. And then Mears Group are a housing platform or real estate solution within the UK. The major use case was they're having 60 branches across the UK, and many employees are on site. So if they need anything related to HR or any of their details, they are moving from one app to one app. They have 12 different applications. So if they have tried to bring all the data or the context aware data from these platforms, and now for every request, they are saving about 10 minutes because they have all the data internally, both for your employees. First thing is calls will be deflected because you have all the data there, relevant data. You don't need to raise a ticket. You don't need to go to different platforms. Next thing is whenever it comes to an agent, even agent has the context rather than going into different platforms at one platform. They can see all the data. So this is the value add that Mears Group has seen. Now I'll pass it on to Donovan because he has seen the pain in real life being on a service desk. The metrics here are the average, the average value add that any customer is getting once they've implemented this Now Assist. So I'll quickly pass it to Donovan to go through this.
Thanks, Shrikant. So what Shrikant has presented over the couple of minutes with the use cases is a great example of the efficiency that can be provided by AI. But in terms of a lived experience many years ago, many years ago, I was an agent myself. And it's a really difficult position to be put in because you are the representative for that company. And there's actually quite a lot of pressure for you to abide by average handling time, mean time to resolve, first call resolution. And actually, those KPIs and metrics are not forefront of that agent's mind. And back in the day, I didn't have a platform to enable me to keep track of and maintain average handling time, first call resolution, etc. And when it came, as a very simple example, when it came to the end of a call to summarize, most of the time I would just put a full stop into summarize. And that's obviously not the best way to summarize those actions. So having AI enable me to better summarize that case goes a long way to service me as a touch point as a customer on that end-to-end journey and ultimately better service that customer. But beyond the efficiency and productivity for the agent and for the process, if we actually take a look at what really is behind the reasons for us having KPIs such as average handling time, mean time to resolve, CSAT, NPS, etc., as actually comes down to the financial gain and your return on investment. And if we quantify just very simply, if we take a look at an agent experience or a fulfiller experience, if they were spending out of their entire day, so I was taking on average about 80 to 100 calls a day. If I'm spending 10 to 15 minutes summarizing a case or even just looking for information, if we take that 15 minutes per case times that by the 80 to 100 calls, that's 150 minutes, for example. So at the top end, 150 minutes that I'm spending every single day trying to find information or trying to summarize a case. Hence why I was putting in full stops in my summary of my cases, because I'm trying to get to my next call so that my average handling time is within that limit. So a very negative experience for the agent. But if we quantify that 150 minutes over every day, times that by 5, because I was working Monday to Friday, times it by the number of days that we have in a working calendar year, you can actually start to see a very simple example how just that productivity increase can quantify that return on investment. So not only are we increasing productivity, sticking to our metrics and our KPIs, but there's actually a financial benefit as well. So that return on investment is the real reason why we would want to implement the AI solutions, not only to help the agent, but again, return on investment, so that when we start to look at operational efficiency and start to draw up those reports for our quarterly business reviews with our customers, and those chargeable services, we can actually then have, you know, a quantifiable conversation as to where and how efficiency has been gained. Thanks, Srikanth. And just a time check, we have 10 minutes.
Okay, thanks, Numan. So this is what we wanted to cover today as well, on a validation based on what Numan said, 38 minutes saving per day per agent. You can get that for day one. It's not like complete implementation project. You have to wait 6 to 8 months to use that licensing. Day one, just turn it on. Of course, the numbers might differ based on how you are dealing it currently, but this is a high level roadmap. We'll be sharing this roadmap with you. But today, what we wanted to cover is how you can be AI ready. You know what ServiceNow is doing on AI. You know that will help you. And the conversation now ends up about how can we get ready to adopt that. So what we see is the 4 layers or 4 pillars of maturity, as we say, starting with your data layer. You need to establish, solid data foundation, starting with your reference data, be it the CMDB or adopting to the common service data model, whatever the knowledge bases that you have, the service catalog that you have, and any other integration hub spokes. So you're pulling the data. So first thing is sort your data. And once you have established a data foundation, then it comes down to how you feed the data in, how you are acknowledging your customer, or how you are acknowledging your employee or your agents. What's the interface that they're being able to interact with the data? Are you using the service portal or employee center portal? And the workspaces, reports and dashboards, the chatbots, integration with the Teams, Slack, or WhatsApp. So how you are using that engaging experience. The next one is automation. Have your data, you have your medium of interaction or that experience. And now it's time to automate, put self-service in place. So using the flow designers, the decision tables, automatically assigning the tickets, automation engine. There are a lot of automation capabilities within the platform that you can utilize. So once you have automated to an extent, then it's time to be productive. Then it's time for system to make the decisions on your behalf or make some recommendation. That's where the intelligence comes in, how you can optimize. You can AI engineer 2 different things. You can start with the intelligent components. Like if you have the data, start with the predictive intelligence or the task intelligence. have the performance analytics reporting in place, do the process mining to identify the bottlenecks. So you have a lot of data, act on that particular data. That's how you can be AI ready. And then comes the second part of generative AI. It comes down to you. You can start using that from day one. Let's say you just turn it on now and you can track the value immediately because it's more of generating something based on LLM that's already there from day one. So you can adopt to this AI journey or adopt to the platform or intelligent workflows. I would say not just the AI. This is where you will be falling into one of these pillars or the maturity levels. Now, how can we help you as CapTS? So if you're already our existing customer as part of implementation or managed services, or if you're interested in AI, it's not like you pay all the money to us or agree on an implementation 6 months plan. We are changing the way you work, all of that. So you can pick any of these offerings that we have here, as basic as starting with a 1 week AI assessment, currently where you are, what you're doing, and we can come up with a recommendation on what's the roadmap for you to adopt AI based on your current situation, and how does that OCM layer, organization change management, looks like, how the governance looks like, the basic strategy on what you should be doing, where you are currently, how much it would take you to get there. We can do that AI assessment. Based on that finding, you can't, if you can do that if you'd like to, you can choose from any of these three. But before jumping into AI, as we discussed before, is your data okay? Are you using all the elements that you have already purchased? Or if you're planning to do something as part of the roadmap, what are the enhancements or pre-work that we need to do to make you ready? So all of that we can make it part of this AI readiness. So that is one of the services you can opt for. And then AI implementation, that's where we actually get onto the ground and implement all the AI features that we discussed so far, or what's relevant to you, the use cases relevant to you within that roadmap. And then next, fine tuning of that particular AI implementation. And then you can scale up on the AI use cases you build. It's not a big bang approach, take a phased approach where you see most pain or challenges, address that, see the value out of it, then go on to that. So as we discussed, go from workflow to workflow rather than just sprinkling AI throughout your department. Just pick one department, pick one workflow, try to put intelligence or turn it into an intelligent workflow. So that's where we can help. We are happy to do a follow-up session or a tailored demo or give you more information. And here are the key takeaways. You've understood what ServiceNow is doing on the AI, and what would be the ideal approach for you to take, the different maturity levels for you to be AI ready. And we are here to help you as well from CapTS side. Thank you very much. Now we are open to questions.